All right,
3 seconds. There you go.
all right, good. This is the Enfield Master Planning Task Force. It is Monday, the 16th of September, 2024. We are in the community center conference room and also on are we on Teams or?
We are.
Okay, we're on the Teams video platform. Task Force members present from my left, starting with Bridget.
Oh, I'm not.
Wake up, wake up.
I figured we were going clockwise. I was like,
No,
oh,
I always go counterclockwise.
I'm like, why, just kidding.
Force of habit.
Lindsay Smith.
I'm David Frack. Shirley.
Shirley Green.
Bill Lemire.
And Rob Taylor.
Staff. Yep.
Staff. And on remote, we have Liz Kelly and Crystal Kidd.
Hi.
Hi, Crystal.
The camera
Hey,
keeps
yeah,
kicking me off on my end. It shouldn't be an issue, but see, I don't know why it keeps kicking me off, but just so you know, I'm
Okay,
here.
well, we can hear you, and that's
Hear you
really
loud and
what
clear.
counts.
It should be fine.
Okay, so I don't have the agenda. Phil,
There you go.
now I got it. Let's put the meeting minutes towards the end and get right into the draft chapters. Everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay, so Liz, you want to take
Sure.
over?
Sure. So we've provided to you all for review and discussion tonight 2 of the 5 draft chapters. So these include recreation and heritage and preservation. And I guess my first question is, have people reviewed them?
I have.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So what we're really looking from you all here tonight is for a consolidated list of feedback. So we really want to make sure we make efficient use of the funds left for this project. And so the clearer feedback we have as far as edits go, the more we can ensure that happens. And if at any point you all as a task force feel like there needs to be more discussion beyond this meeting to get an agreed upon list of edits for us, we can talk about that later. But I did just want to say that up front. As far as the discussion tonight, we're hoping that these edits will include, everything ranging from larger edits to smaller edits. So if there's anything missing in the chapters that you feel needs to be present, we absolutely want to know that. If there's anything that needs to be framed differently, we want to know that. Factual corrections or discrepancies, we also want to know that as well. We've already received, well, at least one email, which was great, about some factual corrections that need to be made in the heritage and preservation chapter. And then lastly, editorial. And so these could be, if spelling errors or if folks read through the narrative and there's some clunky dialogue and think it needs to be refined a little bit. Those don't necessarily need as much group discussion in our opinion. But if there are some that change the spirit of that particular sentence, obviously that should be discussed. But we're happy to take some of the more grammatical stuff in, digitally, but I'll also leave that to you as far as, what makes sense. Thoughts on that approach?
Sounds good to me.
Good.
Awesome,
Which
that's
one do
great.
you want to tackle first?
Why don't we tackle recreation first? And so we'll open it up to comments and discussion at this point.
I have a question around, so we have like the facilities listed and we
Yes.
know in Enfield, Is there a way we can do something? So we have Mascoma Valley Regional Schools. And I
Yes.
think that one's important, maybe an asterisk, or because there's 4 schools and only one of which is actually in Enfield, but really the town owns none of them in whole. I mean, all our taxes go towards all of them, but
Yes.
so I wasn't sure if we can maybe just, I don't know what the best way is to do that, just to clarify for people, because I don't want anyone kind of pointing and saying like, oh, you don't own those.
Yeah, stress if it's regional, would that do
Yeah, and maybe it's, yeah, it's just the regional, the asterisks and, if you could fit it underneath something that just notes it's a regional school district owned by the 5 towns or.
Why not just
paid
follow
for.
Mascoma Valley Regional,
That's what it says.
Regional School District?
Whatever reads
Or does
best.
I mean, so maybe it's, Bridget, it stands out to Bridget, is it standing out to anybody else as reading awkwardly?
Yeah, I had
Um,
flagged it.
Okay, so,
And like I said, it stands out because it's listed under town owned, so
Okay, that makes sense.
it's that like wiggly,
or do we
Yes
just,
and no.
or do we just put it under other facilities?
yeah.
The other
We could-
facilities
yeah.
is like Crystal Lake boat ramp,
Yeah.
obviously we don't own
Yeah.
own that, so maybe if we just move it down.
I like that.
And then it's, cause it says regional and all that
Exactly.
stuff, but
Yeah.
just that, move it from town owned, yeah.
Perfect.
Let's see, I was on on page 56.
Yep.
There is, I guess the 5th paragraph, so these areas are prime locations for hiking.
Yes.
So under there, it's the Enfield Outing Club Complex.
Yeah.
So they do provide space for, archery, handguns, but like they don't have space for ice fishing. They don't, there's no water there.
Okay.
Um,
I wonder where we got
It's not
that.
that they don't
Oh,
offer,
oh,
I
yeah.
think they offer
Yeah.
different courses. I don't know if I've seen them offer an ice fishing safety, but they offer different courses for people that might cover those topics.
Okay.
It's, yeah, so maybe that's a different way to state it,
Mm,
the course, because I think that would be a huge benefit to them, because they do try to let the public know that they offer all these different courses too.
yeah,
Okay.
they're doing archery right now. I think.
So, yeah, they provide an outdoor, shooting range, archery course, and other, and educational programs or something like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
take out ice fishing and fly fishing,
Perfect.
so that might be part of their educational programs.
Yeah. Certainly not where the shooting range is.
Yeah,
Great. Great. We can do that.
no,
Yeah.
they filled in the wetlands.
Well, you don't have to,
Sorry,
we had
I
it
did.
at a school function and there wasn't any water around.
Right, but that's
Yeah.
where it's an educational program
Yeah.
versus actual fly fishing. I mean, you can wave a fishing rod
Yeah,
anywhere.
they were
but you're not
teaching the
actually
kids
fishing.
how to
Yeah,
do
cast.
it, fishing game like,
Yeah,
without the water.
yeah, but they lead educational programs.
To me, I don't know that anything else stood out until the bottom, so on page 58.
58.
So the recreational programming in Enfield.
Mhm.
It's a hard one. So we, as far as the Mascoma Youth Sports League, we could take
Mhm.
away the parentheses underneath that. Cause that it's not soon to be, it is being run by
Okay.
Enfield Parks and Rec. And then of course you have. Yeah, you have what's listed under there. As far as Whaleback Mountain, the Mascoma Elementary Cross Country Skiing Program, that is not specific to Whaleback. That's actually a
Okay.
recreational run program somewhere.
Okay.
But they do the ski and ride.
Okay. So we'll remove that.
Yeah, I would take that out of there.
Great.
And I would probably just move it under Enfield Parks and Recreation Department is the elementary cross-country skiing program.
Okay. Okay.
Can we jump back up to 55 again for a second? Middle column, dog walking spaces, can we call it a dog park? Because that's what they call it.
Is that what, my question was, is that what they meant with the dog park for dog walking spaces? To me, if I saw dog walking spaces, I would assume, well, what did you all mean by dog walking spaces? Yeah, I didn't think the dog park at all. I was thinking like rail trail or
Oh,
places
Oh.
to.
So is the dog
Right.
park part of one of the town parks or a?
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
No, it's
yes,
separate.
it's at the very end of our ball fields. It's on the non-usable end of our ball fields.
Okay.
There's a big
And
place.
then is there still dog walking space at some of the other town parks? Like, do people take their dogs and walk some of them at some of the other park facilities?
Yes,
Yeah, you do.
Mascoma Lakeside Park actually has a dog swimming area.
Yes,
Yeah.
we were just
And the
there.
rail trails and they're at
The other trails, people take their
the
dogs.
trails, people take them on, and the parks,
Four town parks.
I would say I haven't seen if new rules have come out.
Yeah,
When I was there were not supposed to be dogs in the park. But I don't think it's well signed and I don't know if that's necessarily staying. I don't know what's going on with that.
so, I mean, so I think it's like, not necessarily, the parks are really small, so
Mhm.
they're not necessarily have like a walking trail that would be.
Yeah.
Utilized for dog walking, if, like, that's what, when I read that sentence and have seen other parks that have places where people would then intentionally take their dog to walk, our parks don't do that.
Okay, so
I would
maybe-
take that,
Yeah.
just change it to a dog park.
Great. I
And-
think that makes
and-
sense.
Yeah, cause it's not,
Mm.
our parks are kind of very small.
Is
Yeah.
that called Shaker Dog Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a non-profit, private.
it's a private group,
It's the
volunteer
nonprofit.
group.
Yeah, it's not
But it is town owned land.
Yeah.
correct.
So, yeah, I just would say a dog park.
Great.
And then, yeah, because it technically is at the very far end of the ball field, although there's a big section between the ball field and the dog park that's not usable for
Anyway,
recreating.
unless you want
Right.
to do this.
Right, exactly. I walked there one day and I was like, oh dear, what is this?
Okay,
Oh, yes. There's
Go
a
ahead,
story
Sheila.
walk at the recreation,
There's
There
what?
is,
for, there's a story walk there too,
Where?
yeah, Shaker.
at the
at the
Shaker.
ball field.
Rec-
Yes.
yeah. The library helped put it up.
Oh, yeah.
The rec department and the library did it together.
So it's 4 town parks that provide athletic fields and courts. Do we have courts?
Yes.
No,
We've got a basketball court here. I would not say in courts,
Okay, keep it as fields. Yeah, I think you're right. That makes sense.
because it's like, we have ripped up basketball court if there's one spot, but not really.
Yeah.
Community gathering areas, dog park. Like an interactive
Story walk?
story walk.
There's an
Okay.
activity to do at each one besides reading.
Yeah. So that's at one place.
Okay.
That's a good thing to put in because
Um,
Eastman paid for it and they've paid for a lot
Yeah,
of stuff.
it's on water
in these
access.
parks. And hopefully they keep, well, they still go.
okay,
I mean, if you wanted to, you could say Hughes Park, it does have a basketball court there. And then just, take it out from there and just say, because it has a baseball field, a pavilion, a basketball court and playground.
Let's do that.
page 56. first, I guess, first full paragraph, yeah, first full,
It begins with Chicago
which
Beach.
says Tacoma Beach.
Mhm.
You state that there are 2 town-owned and 3 state-owned boat launches, and
Yes.
you only list 4 of them.
Yeah, okay, so I have to like go back and see where we sourced this from exactly. And I think when I read this, I assumed that there might have been 2 on one lake.
I don't think that's the case.
If that's not the
Anybody?
case, well, we can, or if anyone knows, well, we can also dig this
one-
information up. But if anyone knows what I'm missing, then I reference it right now.
Is there 2 on?
There's only one on Crystal owned by Fish and Game.
Right,
Right, one on
And it's-
Mascoma.
but are there 2 technically on Mascoma?
There's
You
2.
have to-
Yeah, but one's Lebanon.
Lebanon has one.
Well, but isn't Mascoma Lakeside Park? You
That's
can,
technically a boat ramp for non-motorized.
right, so it's a boat ramp for
Oh, that's
non-motorized.
right.
Yeah.
It's where you kayaks and stuff in.
Non-motorized boat.
I'm wondering if that's what,
Yeah.
That would be the extra one, but it's not state-owned, it's
Right.
town-owned.
but then it's 3 town-owned and 2.
Now, is there anything on Spectacle?
Yeah, there's a car top.
Town
Rob, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I would agree that there are 2 town boat ramps on Mascoma. One is a motorized for regular like truck and trailer, big rigs. And then there's a non-motorized boat ramp at Mascoma Lakeside Park. That is just
Okay.
for rooftop, canoes, kayaks,
So that's Mascoma. Crystal Lake is state-owned.
fishing game.
Fishing Game.
What's at George Pond?
There is we'll call it a ramp off of Bog Road.
Okay,
It's pretty primitive. But
Is
there
it-
There is a
is
ramp.
that town or state-owned?
That's a good question. I have to ask Jim. I'll get back to you on that
It
list.
says state owned in the chart on 55.
Yeah,
George Pond Boat Ramp, state owned.
Okay.
okay, and there's only 2 listed, so I think we just need to talk with Rob and figure out what the right inventory numbers are for those.
Well, could you also have on, if we're looking at the map, 9 and 10, I feel like are they, oh no,
You have Spectacle Pond boat launch listed
Yep.
on the page on 55, so that would be. I don't know if that is town or state,
I believe that is 10.
no.
okay, so that would.
Check his count.
I'll confirm that with Jim tomorrow.
Okay.
And there's 2 listed for George Pond, and I'm noticing a spelling error on pond,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and they're like, so
There's
that,
one on 4A and there's one on Bog Road, but they're, when you say boat ramp, it's kind of generous. It's just a
yeah, oh, I know what
little
you're
path
talking
to the
about.
water.
I know what you're talking about on
Right.
Broadway.
Right now,
I can
Very
speak to this a
difficult to get
little
to
bit
open one.
because I did see this in my research. So there on the town website, it's called A Guide to Classics Roads, Trails, and Boat Access in Enfield and the surrounding area. And that's where we source some of this information. I've just been reading it as we've, the conversation's been going on. So we've already mentioned some of these. I'm just going to read them to see if this is the 5. Coal Pond in Enfield, that's owned by New Hampshire Fish and Game. We already mentioned that. Crystal Lake, Enfield, New Hampshire Fish and Game, also mentioned that. George Pond in Enfield, New Hampshire Fish and Game on Bog Road, that was mentioned. So that's 3. Town of Enfield on Mascoma Lake, we know that, off Route 4A. Spectacle Pond, owned by the town of Enfield. It's a gravel ramp on Lock Haven Road. And that's what is listed.
So they don't have the Lakeside Park.
yeah. So it sounds like the only one we want to add is Lakeside Park rooftop boat launch, which is also known as non-motorized.
Nice.
Coal Pond too, that would be a little stretch to call it a boat ramp. I mean, you have to hike up there 1.2 miles. But there
Yeah,
is a-
do we
there is
wanna
a ramp.
reference
It's
that or
only
no?
Inflatable.
I don't think
Not, I
so.
mean, we have it listed above as a fly fishing area, and that might be right.
Right,
It's
Yeah,
definitely,
okay.
you're not putting a boat in there.
yeah, it's on the map as a fly fishing area.
It says
bunch-
access from Coal Pond Trail, so yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
sounds
the
like
trail
you're-
like pretty much ends at it, but you have to hike up a mile and a half. I mean,
Carry a boat
there-
with you.
there are 2 boats up there. People have done it.
Oh, there's more than two. They're all
Wow.
stashed. in
At
the
least a
woods.
couple boats up there, but you can't, they're stashed, yeah. There's more.
And of course, nowadays with all the cool inflatables, that's what.
Yeah,
I was
people are-
gonna say, that's what I
But
want.
it's not necessarily a boat ramp where
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
I met a guy on that he thought it was a mountain biking trail, him and his
It's
son.
pretty rugged.
And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, y'all don't wanna get off your bikes up here.
Okay, thanks, Crystal. That was helpful.
Further down on that first column, Shaker Bridge Landing Park, are you referring to Lakeside Park?
This 55.
Oh.
It is page 56.
Yeah, I believe we should be referencing that, correct?
Yeah, Lakeside Park, not Shaker
Yeah.
Bridge Landing.
Where did that come from? I'll have to make a note
It
of that.
was
just 'cause
it
I'm
used to be
curious.
Shaker Bridge.
Okay, that's why. Then yes, it
Because
should
there
definitely
was
be
an
Lakeside
old
Park.
hotel there. Oh my God, he's so bad right now.
This must be
Okay,
the season
thank
for
you.
dogs being bad.
Oh, he's been in his crate for like
That Bella
5
has been just incorrigible. Next page, which is page,
But we could take something out of
Stop.
futuristic speed on 56 too, because it's done, is the disc golf course on
Oh,
Whaleback.
good call.
Yep. That is added, is.
It's already there.
Yeah, it's there. It's useful. Before we move off of page 56, do you mind if I'm a little confused on the very last paragraph in the second column about the trail system.
Yes.
And so, and the reason is that, I guess you say Enfield's trail system. So are we only marking trails that are, I guess, owned and operate, like maintained by the town? Because then we're missing some big chunks of trail.
I
Trails.
don't believe so, because like is Coal Pond Trail managed by the town?
I don't think it is. So Coal
That's
Pond's in
Dave.
there. So the Colette Bicknell Brook is fine. Suka's Marsh Trail, sure. But we're missing Smith Pond. Which is
Okay, we'll see if we have that data.
I mean, it's a good 5-6 mile loop.
Okay,
And Smith Pond is one of our, I'm not sure if we're even referencing it. It's one of our exits off of 89.
Yeah, I know, it's one of the ones that
we
comes
have
up.
We have 4 exits. Lebanon has 2.
Yep,
And one of them is Smith Pond. So it's a really great resource, but there's a 5 mile loop plus multiple waterfalls on that trail. Big Dog Falls, Little Dog Falls. And then the Lower Shaker Village or Fish and Wildlife there's a bunch of trails there. I mean, they used to be cross-country ski trails. They've
Yep.
they did a bunch of logging, so can't really cross-country ski, but it's still a pretty extensive trail system, and that's a place that people take dogs. If you wanted to, because you don't have to have them on a leash.
okay,
It's
so
a place.
what I'm thinking is that my assumption right now, because the trail mileage was pulled by our GIS analyst. And so one, it'd be great to see if there's any shape file for these, for some of the trails on Lower Shaker and for the Smith Pond Trail. And
Mhm.
2, even if we don't have that, we should be including that mileage into the description here.
Yeah.
And so that should be contributing to like the total mileage of trail, and we can talk about those in the narrative. So we'll do both of those things, see if we can get any shape file for the trails so they're on the map.
Yeah.
And or depending on
And
if they aren't.
definitely, because Smith Pond has 2 you know, you can access it from 4A and you can access it from 89. So it really has, it kind of is one of those things that spans that ridge line. And then Lower Shaker Mountain, kind of the same. It's still up there. I know there's more stuff up off of May. Actually, I guess once it's in May, is that now in Lebanon or Hanover? Where the quarry is?
There's the, it's Canaan.
Is that Canaan?
Yeah,
Okay.
the pond and old quarry.
I don't want to reference that stuff because I want it to be.
Okay,
Under the,
Across the line.
Cool. I'd like
Shirley?
that. Start.
other.
that will,
other,
I think,
um,
reflect more of a reality as far as the trails, so thank you, I appreciate that.
Sure, no problem.
Where it says other indoor spaces in town, should we mention when it mentions the library that it's in the process of being expanded right now, so we'll be providing more space?
Why don't
Because the
we
teen-
say
it's gonna have
newly
a teen
expanded
area. Yeah,
by the time this
it's gonna
gets,
have a,
Oh, yeah, by the time
Gets
this comes
done.
out, it should be
will
done.
be moved
yes,
in.
it's gonna be done sooner than we
Yeah.
think. I just.
New
So should I say
Yeah.
the newly expanded library?
Newly
Yeah.
expanded,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then, 2024. So we know when the new, so in 10 years, we know what the newly was.
Well,
Good
Yes,
point.
now, I got word today that we have to get ready sooner to get back in there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if we put newly in and we come back in 10 years,
Yes,
it may not feel new anymore,
Yeah,
so we
right.
should put in
I see
the,
what you mean.
we should put in 2024.
Yes,
Why not?
that's good.
Okay.
okay,
I have
we'll do
one
that.
Alright.
more comment on 56.
Yep.
The map
This is good, this,
where
I'm glad
you-
that we're,
where you're
tearing this page
showing, the boat launch and the beach.
Yes.
The two little circles are kind of clobbering each other. Can you just separate them a little bit?
yeah, let me note that on the map
Maybe-
really quick.
Or lead lines or something so that they're not clobbering.
What are the two numbers that you're looking at, David?
Oh, I am looking at number 6 and I think number 4,
Yep.
but it's clobbered, so I'm not really
Yeah, so it
sure.
looks like 46.
Yep,
They're-
I see it.
Both numbers are in one circle.
Yep, we'll do
It
that.
might- It just might work to just make them smaller if possible.
Yep.
Um.
Okay,
so
great.
the-
Yeah, I have one comment on 57 in the numbered key, number 9,
Yes,
typo George Pone,
got it.
should be.
Thank you.
George Pond.
Oh, that's a corn dish.
Like corn pone, or it could be some ancient Enfield guy who they named the boat ramp after.
On page 58, I think it's technically the third paragraph, the management and organization. Improved significantly in recent, it says recently.
Third paragraph, yep, I see it. Thank you.
Um. Next. Page 2, I was just kind of noticing. So at the top of 59. Talks about community partners or also help with. So you have the Enfield Village Association coordinates volunteers to help maintain Lakeside Park. Is that?
Is that accurate?
Is that true?
I don't know if that's them.
What?
I thought I saw it on their Facebook page.
So
Pardon me?
I think
It's not the
What
Enfield
page?
Village.
What page?
59.
Uh-huh.
I said, Basketball Lakeside Park Committee.
Yes,
Yeah, they're still there.
yeah, it's not the Enfield Village.
I don't think EVA.
Oh,
does
EVA,
that, though.
no, EVA does not.
I
No,
think there's a Lakeside. What's it called?
the
Park
Lakeside
Committee
Park Committee.
that does it. I don't know.
Do they have like a
Um,
web page or anything, just to, so I get the name right?
They're listed on the town.
Town website, under
Website.
boards and committees.
Yep.
There's a
Perfect.
Mascoma Lakeside
Yeah.
Park Committee.
Yeah, it's a good thing you caught that. That's-
Enfield Village Association coordinates, coffee, business coffees.
Okay, so they don't do as
and-
much with the Parks and Rec stuff.
No.
Nothing.
No, the only
They
thing
do the scarecrows.
They do their yearly race.
They
The
have,
Shakers.
But I mean, they
Yeah,
did nothing
and the
with the
Scarecrow.
lakeside park.
Well, on the scarecrow, yeah, no, but she said anything with Parks and Recreation, but they do
Okay.
do a
Yeah.
recreational, a big
Yeah.
recreational event is the
but
Shakers.
but
Okay.
they don't do any maintenance of town recreation land, so they shouldn't be
And,
mentioned in that paragraph.
How about the, hometown holidays? They coordinate that? too?
Yeah, but right now, for intents and purposes, this paragraph is about community partners that help with maintenance of town, and
Right.
they don't do that. So,
Okay.
yeah. They may
Uh,
have at one.
Not to complicate this further, but we do include some of these events and whatnot in the recreation programming table. Do you all want to see Enfield Village Association listed, since they do coordinate at least hometown holidays, if not others?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll add that to the table.
I think
The other thing I
it
want to
would be-
note that
Take out bingo.
one last thing I want to note on the table, because this just got cut off the bottom of the table, is that we have Shaker Museum listed and it's just kind of hanging out there. And that's because the table got cut off. There were a few activities and programming items that we had included under Shaker Museum. So we'll make sure those are included in the next version, because they were cut off.
Yeah, I think what Lindsay said too.
All right, yeah, so if we're looking at that table, again, just, you take out bingo. We don't do
Okay.
town bingo anymore. There's now a bingo hall. So.
Okay.
it's
Commercial.
a privately owned, who does a lot of community event fundraising, but they're their own thing. And then you could probably, call it the, because Enfield Parks and Recreation has taken over Moscone Youth.
Still staying as Mascoma Sports League.
All right, okay, never mind,
It's still including it all.
okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that fully. Were we talking about whether we should include the name Mascoma Youth Sports League there when it's now a Parks and Rec, they're now Parks and Rec programs?
But they're still going by Mascoma Youth
Okay.
Sports League.
Got it.
Because it has to draw from everybody, so.
Okay.
And, but yeah, Eva would be great to include here.
Okay.
I am kind of a little bit confused on, so you've got the way this chart is, you've got things that are larger and bold, and then
Yes.
I'm assuming what's underneath them pertain to that.
Yeah, so library should be capitalized. I'm seeing that now.
So,
That was
yeah,
an
so
oversight.
then library's got programs, and then all of a sudden we have scout troops. And then Conservation Commission, oh, I see it's guided hikes, and then Shaker Museum would be its
Should be
own.
capitalized, should be capitalized. And then the programming's underneath got cut off. So we'll make sure
Okay.
that those are refined.
Okay.
Scout troops, I just didn't really know where to put them, but it felt different.
And they are.
Yeah,
So
from the other entities.
And I guess, do we include Outing Club here?
Because
If
they
we're-
offer, yeah,
Because they offer programming, and they offer adult and youth, and they also do they do a Christmas Eve, a night.
I would say yes, because we've included Wheelback, so it's another
Yeah.
private, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, Enfield Outing Club.
And I think they have a better improved website. If not, they do have, they have someone who's fairly bit more responsive. I don't know her name at the moment, but
And they do
Okay.
have their Facebook page, but Peg is pretty good. at
Okay, Peg.
everything.
yeah, so you might be able to get
Oh, yeah.
more updated information on their programming.
Okay, great.
Including their,
But yeah, they do their Christmas party.
yeah, they've got a big Christmas party. They do some really, cool
They
things for the
participate
town.
In old home days too.
Even though they do
Yep.
things I don't like. They do things I like.
Exciting area community oriented.
I know.
Liz, I
Yes.
wonder if, indenting the activities list would help separate it from the names of the departments or groups.
Great idea,
Which
Let's do
they
that.
are.
great idea.
Beautiful. Further down on that page, in the middle column, these are important places. The Easter egg hunt and town tree lighting are activities rather than places. I'm not
Yep,
quite
good
sure
call. Yep,
how we
agreed.
would change that, but I think something needs to be done. And
I think
then
we
in
can
the
change
next-
places to activities and we'll restructure the sentence so it makes sense with that change.
Okay, great. The next paragraph, fourth line, in recently years, should be recent years,
Got it.
I think. And finally, in the third column, your quote, "the gears that steer the ship."
Not a good quote.
I've never heard of gears steering the ship unless they
Great
control the
point.
rudders.
That's very fair. I'm happy you brought that up then, because I'm sure other people will feel the same way. So drop the analogy and say something more direct.
Yeah,
Unless anyone has an analogy they think will work, but we don't need to belabor what analogy would be more appropriate.
We're not.
on the next page, is the Enfield Skating Club the correct name? I always thought it
No.
was the Mascoma Skating Club.
The Mascoma, it's not a club, it's Mascoma Lake Skating Association.
Where are you seeing this?
Next page, which is 59,
Yes,
first paragraph.
got it.
Further down, under funding, about 5 or 6 lines from the bottom of that paragraph. Maybe it needs the word "and" between maintenance and repairs.
Yep,
And in the strengths, whaleback is one word, not two.
got it.
And to get really nitpicky,
That's fine. We want that.
the quotation marks that you're using for the natural environment is not consistent with the rest of the
Thank you.
document.
Yep, we'll make that consistent. Great.
Billy, you've been awfully quiet. What have you got?
I've got nothing. You guys, everything I looked at, you guys have already captured, so.
Okay.
You're doing good.
Have we beat page 59 to death? Let's go on to 60. Anyone? I have a couple while people think. Balanced investment, fourth line,
Yep,
with grant funding and other funding, maybe just say grant and other funding.
yeah, let me try to find this really quick. What column is this in, David?
Third column on page 60.
Third column.
Balanced,
Okay.
balanced investment.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, and then the next full paragraph on connectivity. Seemed like an awfully long sentence.
The first sentence or the second?
I flagged the
both?
whole thing.
Yeah, okay. We can break this up.
Maybe, yeah, maybe you could break it up or just start again.
Yep, we can do that.
Okay, and then further down under accessibility, physical access of recreation, I think might want to change that to physical access to recreation.
I like that.
That same paragraph. What, there?
Accessibility.
Yeah.
No, into the connectivity paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
there's, the second sentence, for example, it says by New Hampshire Scenic Byway Program.
I think it's missing. There's something missing in there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like to connect or something. Yeah, something. I'll
Like
I'll
two
look at
connect the
that.
two of them or four connecting or something.
Thank you for noticing that. Okay.
Next page, I had nothing, and that's the end.
Whoa.
But I'm not the only one marking this thing up, so anybody else can jump in. Should jump in. Please jump in.
I like the pictures. This last
Great.
picture, was that picture taken at the, where's that picture taken?
We got this from the Parks and Rec
Summer
Facebook
camp?
page.
Yeah, they're probably at bins or,
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
yeah, they go on field trips
Yeah,
once or twice.
yeah, that looks like the Vin's, display area, so it's not a picture that's in Enfield, but it's where we take Enfield residents for
Mhm.
recreation, I guess.
That is our stuff.
Yeah, all the places that the signs point to, I believe are in Enfield.
Yeah, well, that's all, that's the
All the rest.
trail system that we're missing.
Okay.
The one that I pointed out, we have a great picture of those trail signs.
Yes.
On page 59,
59, yeah.
Shaker Reservoir, Big Dog Falls, Little Dog Falls, Smith Pond. That's the whole system that I was, one of them. There's the lower Shaker Mountain is a little bit harder of a system. And I know there's another pond on Henry Laramie. It's called Half Mile Pond.
Yes, I've seen photos of this online.
Yeah, I haven't been to it, but I know from Smith Pond, it's like another mile, like 1.2 mile walk along the ridge line. And that should technically be in Enfield.
Okay.
I have not been there, but I need to go. I was at Smith Pond last week. I think. Huh?
Okay, we'll look into that.
Oh, wait, there's another one, and there's another one that's called Butternut. But that ridge line, the Henry, huh?
Butternuts and Grantham.
Oh, is it in Grantham? Okay. But that Henry Laramie,
Mile one is ours.
I'm not sure how many more trails are there, but there's definitely bodies of water and Smith Pond, Shaker Forest, there's a connection.
Cause you have access up, behind Lake Condos too. There's a trail access.
Yeah, and it goes right up into the Smith Pond,
Yeah.
like,
I haven't taken that.
there's a actual like parking space and then you walk over a little bit and then it's right behind it. No, I haven't parked behind the condos.
I did think of one other programming thing too. We do movies in the
Yes.
park. And that's,
What is this called?
it's called Movies in the Park. And it
Yes.
is a collaboration with the police department, but
Is
recreation.
it Parks and Rec and Police?
Yep, and they.
Okay.
You know, do show movies at Hughes Park.
Great.
So
We'll reference that.
it's appropriately
Very
named. It's not,
Family friendly.
I like this picture right here, this action shot.
Yeah.
The action shot.
I knew
of
exactly what
Rob.
that was.
Yes.
See, they
I
snuck
did-
themselves in there somehow.
Yeah, were those guys.
Great. So
Liz,
that's-
I have one, minor, little grammatical,
Yes.
under, accessibility on page 60, I think it is,
Yep.
column 3. It says physical access of recreation resources. I think it should say physical access to.
Yes,
Recreational
David got that too.
resources?
Yep.
Yep,
So
Oh, you
two
already
for
got
two
that.
we
there.
hit that.
Awesome.
Great. Was there anything that you thought was missing? It sounds like it didn't come up organically, but I feel like I want to do my due diligence just to ask, make sure. Any big things that did glaring that trying to catch as many of those now.
Can't see anything else.
I guess the old home days would come up under heritage, wouldn't it?
Old Home Days?
Yeah.
No, is it under Heritage?
Their own.
It's their own thing. But it is,
Committee.
and I know like it
It
probably stems
Came out of
it came out of
heritage, there's
Heritage.
not anyone on it that's on the heritage. Well,
Do we count, do it?
Except for you.
It's almost like a program that's not offered by recreation, but intended to be a
out and about.
I would say
Yeah,
it's
that's supposed to recognize our heritage,
okay,
so
so
that's.
then that would be in the heritage preservation.
Yeah.
Chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
That, like, it's a committee that was an offshoot from the heritage, that's its own.
Great. Okay. Well, you guys give us really clear edits, so we know exactly what to do with those. Thank you. Are we ready
And
to
I
move on
think
to? Go ahead, Rob.
I thought you guys nailed the look and feel of our existing plan very, very
Absolutely.
well. So this really is gonna sort of seamlessly.
As
Yeah.
soon as I opened it, that was the very first thought I had, so thank you, Rob, for bringing that up. I was like, oh, looks like it just slides right in, so.
Yeah.
And I'll say this now, just in case I forget, Liz, we have a few residents that love to proofread. They live for
Yeah.
proofreading. If you, once we get
We're done.
a more second or
Final
third draft, or
draft.
whatever it is, yeah, a more finished draft, if you want, we have some people and they will find every missing period, like they love.
I mean, we'd love to have that done before the full like release to the public.
Okay,
Yeah, that sounds
So, yeah.
great.
okay, it's like, some people, yeah, we have some that like they can't, I've asked them to read stuff for content and they can't, they just proofread, so.
Sure.
That's what they do.
And luckily, they're
Which is
not
great.
they're not super long. So even if it's 5 chapters, like we're
Yeah.
trying to keep them the same length as some
No,
of the other
it'll-
chapters have
it'll be
been.
that, it'll be that final, like,
Yeah.
I do not proofread, so.
Yeah, well, and it's just it's amazing how many iterations you can do of a chapter and still miss. So just
Mm-hmm.
having outside eyes is not a bad. It's just never a bad
Absolutely.
practice.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, are we ready to move on to heritage and preservation?
Yep.
Okay, so I did just want to know that we received some comments already from Linda. I don't know if Linda's in the room.
yeah, no,
Linda's
Nope,
not
okay.
here.
Okay, and so I just wanted to, there's only 4 comments, but you'll notice that we referenced that Enfield is a certified local government, and apparently Enfield is not. So that was our bad. I don't know why I thought it was mentioned, and I can't even remember by who at this point, that Enfield was a CLG, so we will take out that reference. And Rob, is there anything you wanted to say on that?
I
Sorry, I
also
thought I
sent
heard
you no, I also sent you from, Meredith. I think
from
Celia had
Meredith.
forwarded.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's from Meredith and Linda was CC'd. Okay, I'm sorry. That's
Yes,
what
yeah.
it was. I was reading at the CC line.
Yeah.
We also, she had also said that the descriptions with the photos of the townhouse in Lock Haven schoolhouse appeared to be reversed. So we can change the positioning of those descriptions. That's on page 63. And then we referenced the La Salette Shrine, which no longer exists. So we'll note that. And then there was some kind of confusion on how we listed the historic districts. So Enfield has 2 National Register historic districts, one at the Shaker Museum and the other at North Enfield Village, and that these are very different from the local historic districts. And so we can make sure that the 3rd historic district, Enfield Center, is obviously a local historic district. So we can just make sure that delineation between the 2 is explained.
are they historic districts or like, is that, if it's coming from Meredith, I just wanna to clarify, is it historic districts or is she talking about historic markers? Or are historic markers marking historic districts? You know what I
So
mean?
she's specifically mentioning the historic districts that are registered with the National Register of Historic Districts. And then
Yeah.
how they're different from the 3rd local historic district, which is not a national historic district.
Okay,
No, Enfield Center.
Does that
is
make
the one
sense? I feel like I'm not saying this super
Right.
clearly.
yeah,
Let's
I
see.
just wanna make sure, cause like, we have 2 historic markers that Meredith was definitely responsible for the second one. Not sure, but and they're in the same approximate locations, that's why, but I'm not sure what they're marking.
Right.
Maybe they're marking those historic districts that I.
But Enfield Center isn't listed as a historic district.
Right, but we don't have an yeah.
Is that, yeah.
Is that what she was been trying to make the,
You'd hope
the
to.
try, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, let me try to find this. Hold on. In the text here. These were general comments. They weren't really. Okay, so if you look at historic districts on page 64, what we say is Enfield has 3 historic districts in town. And so this includes the Shaker Village, the Enfield Village, both of which are National Register of Historic Districts, and then the Enfield Center, which is a local historic district. So we just don't differentiate them in the text, and they
Yeah.
do have very different meanings. And so we can explicitly say that.
Why do we say that it's approved by the voters? Why is that important? I
It's
mean, it
not.
was,
That's a
but-
great point. I don't think, I mean, it's, yeah, it is a fact, but it doesn't need to be said.
Although, I mean, it's created, but created by whom, you know? So,
Yeah.
And I think that's where the local and national distinction can help with this. Like
okay,
the national that was a national, thing, and this was a local initiative that got this 3rd historic district created. So I think just the distinction between the local and national will get to that point, and we can remove the approved by the voters piece.
I didn't realize that you could create local ones.
Yeah. In the state of
Yeah,
New
they
Hampshire,
wanted
you
it
can.
done
I know
so
they
that
want
could
to
apply for
have it,
grants.
yeah,
It's a requirement to get grants to fix up old buildings.
but I thought it had to be, done, nationally or state. I didn't realize you could do it locally.
Yeah, and so like Rob, because you have a local historic district now, do you have a historic district commission?
We do not.
Okay, that was
And
But aren't they the same as the
Heritage
Heritage Commission? Committee?
I'm not familiar in the law around that, but I'm assuming then.
We did it with zoning, the Enfield Center one, we did it with zoning. And it was so they could apply for grants and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we can make that distinction though, so it's clear. I think it's worth noting the difference.
Awesome.
Okay, here's a question for the table. The caption describing the townhouse, the way I read it is the Enfield Center Townhouse has been a hub of civic and social activity since the early days of the town's formation. My read on that is that it still continues to be a hub of civic and social activity, which
I think it
to the
should say
best of my
"and."
knowledge, it's not.
I think it should be
Yeah.
was.
what?
Yes,
of,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
I think that's what I
Now,
meant.
as
Was
moved
it?
toward-
Yeah, not since the, like, in the early days of the town formation. so
Exactly.
it was in the
Yeah.
early days.
Not that we don't want it to be,
Right,
there's just no way for it.
right
But
now,
you're
it's
right.
just-
Yeah.
it will rise again.
It will, one day.
You're totally right. And it's one of the recommendations. So it is confusing the way it's phrased. So we'll fix that.
Yeah. And it is good in the early days, it's better since the early days, because there were 2 before.
Right, so
This one
in
didn't
the early
happen till-
days.
The 1800s.
You know.
We had 2 in just in,
Oh, boy. They can't help themselves, they can't help themselves.
I mean, this might be my like slightly history nerdy side, but if there's any way to work in a photo of the schoolhouse,
Do we have a photo of
I
this?
don't know. Only because it's one of very few 2-story schoolhouses still standing in
One in
the
Enfield
state.
Center,
Yeah.
okay.
Enfield Center
And
Schoolhouse.
we have a resident who attended it. John Carr, I think, was one of the last people that attended that
Yeah.
schoolhouse, which is just kind of
We can get you a picture, Liz.
cool to think about.
That would be great.
also about the marker of the first meeting house up on Lock Haven. Should that be in here?
Which one?
There's a
There's a
marker where
marker.
the first meeting house was up on Lock Haven.
Is it by the schoolhouse?
No, it's kind of across from the cemetery up there.
Oh,
It's in someone's yard. That's where the first meeting house was,
makes sense. That was the first town center.
in the late 1700s.
When the town almost became Lock Haven, right?
Yes, see, there was another one in Lock Haven too, that, the, foundation's still there. People around the lake are using the pieces now. But, it's on the Battis's land. It was right next to that, Johnson's mansion.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, I have a question on the map.
yes,
Um, stone walls, 149 miles. Is that all of the yellow things that almost look like streets?
yes,
Okay, in the key that gets lost because it's on white.
Yeah, there it
And
is. Great.
maybe if you did a black stroke on it.
yep,
It was-
agreed.
And
Great feedback.
also from my perspective, the Enfield Village and Enfield Center historic districts, maybe again, just reverse, orange for the fill and black for the stroke, and see if that looks better.
Okay. Great.
I think the white stroke and the black fill on Smith Pond and Laramie work well, because you've got, a different, less cluttered and lighter background.
Great. Okay,
Page 66. First paragraph, dams along the Knox and Mascoma River once powered over 20 mills in Enfield Center. I don't know the history, but I'm thinking center should be deleted because the Mascoma River, I don't think goes anywhere near Enfield Center.
No. The
okay,
Knox
that's,
Enfield Center got their power. And Enfield itself got it from the Muskoma River.
That's what I thought.
okay, got it.
Um,
Thank you.
and is the Northern Railroad the correct name of the railroad?
The Northern Railroad?
Yeah,
If there's skepticism, we can double check that to make sure it's
yeah,
accurate.
I mean, I know it's called the Northern Rail Trail, but I'm just not certain that it's the Northern Railroad.
Okay. All right, we'll look that up.
Okay. Oh, one other thing, jumping back to the first page, where you do a quote from the Heritage Council. I mean, I
Yes,
think it's a quote. And if it is in fact a quote, it needs the standard format of quotation marks.
thank you.
You got it.
Okay. Others.
Is Lions Club and Lioness Club spelled with a Y?
No,
Why does, I feel like I keep doing that? So it should be an I. Okay.
like the large cat. that you
I think
find in
you
the-
all gave me the same feedback when we were designing the posters for the event. So I'm like, I don't know why I keep trying to spell it with a Y.
It does sound very fancy that way, though.
Right.
It was called the Northern Railroad.
It was.
It was.
Yeah, conquered the White River, and they got photographs here of the Enfield Rail Station as it was many years ago. It's really cool.
Can you share that with us? That's the one on Depot Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Then there's a whole set of photographs underneath. on the different years.
Oh, neat.
Right.
And because the Shakers bought property where they did, they forced the to go
Yeah,
a different route.
I'd never seen these before, I just Googled it up.
That's great.
I would say, so we have these groups listed. Do we still have a garden club? I feel like that's been under discussion recently.
We do.
There's a garden club?
There we
Oh,
go.
is there
Exactly.
not?
Well, there used
There,
to be,
it's not,
but I don't know that there's anybody in it currently.
well,
Mm,
there, I would just take it off.
yeah,
Okay,
I don't-
Complicated.
perfect. That's an easy answer. to
There
that.
are still a few people that take some ownership of a few flower boxes, like my mother.
Right.
But most of the garden club has,
And there may be a situation, I don't know,
right.
but yeah, currently
Okay,
Um,
great.
on page 68, first column, second line, the townhouse, which has been underused. Do we want to say unused?
It has been used
Has-
and it does store things.
Okay,
that we just can't have a function.
Right,
Then-
like we've had
Yes,
functions there.
We thought it had one of those spring floors the last time we had a
And
function
it's
there.
just that it's got a really weak foundation, right? So it's bouncing.
Cause there is such a thing as those.
Right, actually, John Cleve was wondering if my house had that spring floor, because someplace had one, and
Yeah.
our L of our house was ballroom.
Hmm.
So, but,
Yes, the
I
last,
think it's underused, and the idea, it's been one of those, that there's
okay.
been a lot of work on trying to figure out how to use it.
Mhm.
There's just a lot of barriers in the way of making it a more usable space, so it does a lot of storage. But it doesn't have a very bouncy floor, because we did have a dance there, and man, it was springy, and I'm thankful
Oh my
that we
God.
didn't know any better, and didn't go through the floor.
I know, it's what, lucky we
There
did.
were some of us that we were dancing hard, and
Okay, here's a maybe easy way to fit in the schoolhouse part without getting too detailed. Could we do I know you have the built-in here. Is there a way to be, I don't know if I want to say built-in use, but like for the schoolhouse, if we put like the year range of how many years, like since built to when it stopped, and I don't know when that is exactly, but.
how old is John Carr?
I don't know.
We can include a photo of the schoolhouse and note, I mean, it is cool that it's one of the only 2-level schoolhouses in the state.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, we have a resident who attended there, so I don't know if that was in 40s, 50s maybe, that it ran. I can't remember what the grades were in it, but I bet you it's in the Enfield book.
Yeah,
I wish that was digitalized, but I bet it's in there. Well, we just have to call Marjorie. We could also, yeah, probably just ask, has Marjorie read this?
Oh, that's not a bad idea
Marjorie,
right there.
Marjorie could do a little read over of this too.
Our town historian,
He is an encyclopedia of all of the knowledge. It's amazing.
And the
So, like,
stone mill building is no longer being called that.
The what?
Yeah, was a machine shop. I was trying. Forget what it's machine. I'll look it up. It's no longer being called the stone mill.
they're not similar?
Within the last year,
Oh,
that's,
okay. Which makes sense, because it was a machine shop.
yeah. The Heritage Commission might not be aware of that.
More time than that will really
I
help.
don't know.
Okay,
So once we figure out what it's called, and we have an ID caption on it,
Yes.
yes.
and, that first paragraph just kind of stops in the middle of a sentence.
First paragraph.
First column, I'm sorry. On page 68.
Oh my gosh, the sentence got cut off. Okay, yep. So it was complete, it just got cut off.
Oh, okay.
So as in it's written, it's just ghosted right now. Okay, thank you for noticing that. Any edits on page 69?
It's called the Stone Machine Shop.
Ah, so then
Okay.
the stone mill, the stone machine shop. Which we'll forever call the stone mill.
It houses 3 stories of water-powered machinery.
No, I think these look good. I think they,
Yep.
um, this picture, and there's people, there's, scarecrows in it.
It's fall.
It is fall.
I know, that's a very nice picture.
I mean, only we would know those are scarecrows. Probably somebody else would think those are actually just.
We don't have that much.
Sort of flaccid people. Someone's really relaxing there.
Been hanging on the bridge all week, I don't know.
But,
That's a nice picture.
Yeah.
but is it like laundry hanging? What's that
Where?
in this picture?
Where,
Oh, it is,
where do you see
Because there's
laundry
a
hanging?
scarecrow on the laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Oh,
they put up a long,
yeah,
okay, okay. Wow, this must be a while. ago.
actually kind of.
it's a washer person,
The home quest furniture, how well you can see.
Well, it used to be a laundromat.
Yeah,
right.
Now we'll have to have
Now it's a
the
brewery.
guy drinking beer.
yeah.
It's gonna be a brewery.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I, cause now that there's no kitchen 56 stuff in there, so this is a fairly old picture.
No, there is a.
No.
It's got a sign up top, the circle.
Oh, there's, okay. Yeah, cause we
What?
had one that we didn't like, cause it had all the like,
Almost
like
exactly.
yellow and,
But this was.
okay, cause they have them on, okay.
Yeah, it's gotta be current.
No, it's gotta be current, yeah,
22.
nice.
Great. Are there any
Liz,
other? Yes, go ahead, David.
just a question, when this gets all put in together, will the pages get renumbered? Cause I see the last page on the existing is 73 or 71?
They will all get renumbered, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, they're gonna have to, because like 64 and 65 actually be one page. You
Yes.
Put the maps together.
yeah,
I mean,
Okay.
ultimately, the whole document will be one at the end, so all the pages will be renumbered.
that's good. I think you did a great job of keeping the format and also of, copying the writing style. I think.
Good.
To-
That was our
to the-
goal.
I think to the average person, gonna look at the complete 10 chapters, they're gonna think it all was done.
They're
At
not,
once.
they're not gonna sense the ghostwriter that came in.
No, they're not.
Exactly,
I
yeah,
don't think
totally.
so. We will know, but we're not gonna let that secret out.
That's right.
Yeah, and that was our goal, so I'm really happy to hear that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you met your goal and exceeded it, in my opinion.
Great. Um, thank you all for your feedback tonight. So what we did want to know is that we are planning on delivering the next 3 chapters to you all by September 30th,
Okay.
which is a week before your October 7th meeting.
Okay,
Good.
Does that work for all of you? Great.
It should.
We'll make these edits. However, we do want to focus that meeting on, because we're having 3 chapters. We'd love to focus that meeting on those 3 chapters, but we will also plan on making the edits to these chapters as well.
Are we first and third, or are we second and fourth?
Yeah, is that, what Monday is that? Is it the first Monday?
Do
or-
I,
That's the
yeah, do
first-
I have the date right?
Yeah, we should.
Oh, the
I
7th,
think-
we
I
can't
think-
do the 7th.
I think we're second and
It's a
fourth,
Public hearing for the septics.
which there's a big group of septic people at the select board meeting right now.
Pardon, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
so
hard to listen.
technically, I think we're supposed to be on the 14th, which is, it is I don't even know. I don't know if it's a government holiday, it's Columbus/Indigenous People Day.
We don't observe it.
We don't observe it, great. So I think our meeting is supposed to be on the 14th.
I'm happy with that because it gives us a little extra time to refine.
Yeah, because that way we can be in the regular space and, not have to make shift and then, plus there's an important public hearing on the subject.
So you'll at least
Right.
get them on October 7th then, if not before, but
perfect.
at a minimum, October 7th.
Awesome. So we'll plan the meeting for the 14th.
Great.
And I'm not sure if it's been already snatched up for CIP or budget or something
Well,
like
it shouldn't be, on Monday. CIP and budget
Oh,
should,
that's,
that. CIP.
it's
for
not-
Monday.
No, I think
it's,
CIP
library trustees.
Oh, really?
well,
Monday night?
no. We
We
have
got a lot
that room.
going on now, we gotta
We've
move into
been-
that building.
We've had second and fourth Mondays at 6:30. Library trustees. don't
No,
have that.
well, actually, I
Mhm.
changed our meetings to 5 o'clock because of this meeting.
Yeah,
Ah,
So
exactly.
we should be okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
You
try
just
to-
wanna
try
find
to
your
shut up
Canadian
tomorrow.
There is no try, there's only do.
Last week they
Well-
had CIP
On a Monday?
on Monday night.
Well, CIP can move.
Yeah, it's not good when they move,
CIP
move
was like,
around.
"We've been around longer than you have."
Well, thank you all. We really appreciate your time tonight and we
Excellent.
look forward to seeing you on the 14th.
Okay, so.
Nice.
Thanks.
Thanks, Crystal.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
night.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.
At 6:30, right?
CIP's never been on Mondays. We've had the second and fourth because we were opposite the select board.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
So if they're changing up their schedule, that's their.
Yeah.
we're on,
Now-
we're on the same schedule
wonder what
as
we
the
just-
Until
just
Lisa
like
planning
said.
board,
Tonight.
Right?
except when.
Not so bad. I mean, it was a little bit of stress for me on the.
Yeah, it's
Set up.
it's a little stress for
You
you.
got it.
And again, there's just, that gives them another extra week. And we
In
should
the-
be second and fourth or in that schedule.
We are.
And the select board meetings are getting pretty interesting.
The what?
It's like-
Well, apparently there's a whole group there tonight.
There is,
Uh-huh.
oh, gee.
On
No, it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, well, somehow,
Oh.
It wasn't on, so I thought it'd be okay to miss it.
well, if you need to go,
No,
what's his name? Rob? No,
Mr. John Esler,
John Essler,
oh,
raising a stink and brought a whole bunch of people.
he has a problem himself, that's his problem.
Yeah.
So he has a
Yeah.
septic problem, so he doesn't want.
Yeah, that's why he's
He
fighting this
doesn't wanna
stuff.
have to deal.
He doesn't have any place to put
So
one.
somebody, oh, we're recording.
So,
We'll wait till we're not.
Let's save this for after we close the meeting.
Yes, we're doing minutes tonight. Let's get.
Okay.
Copies of the minutes? I do have
Oh,
copies.
yes, we better close.
we know all of it.
You know, I had someone come to my house today, just as I was getting home, that was on the last select board meeting by Teams.
Uh-huh.
And he heard that we had 0.24 acres and we had this wastewater treatment system on our property, and he wanted to find out more about it. See it? He is exactly 0.24 acres too.
Okay, once we,
I already, Does anyone, I already have one. Oh. So anyways, he was very impressed with it. He's planning to on in on his property. He's on Spectacle Falls.
Nice. Okay.
That's the second person that's done it.
Nice. Changes. This is for, we're recording so that Whitney can work from the recording. to do
Right.
the minutes.
Oh dear.
He's doing minutes right now
Recording.
at,
Thanks a lot for this.
Yes, what I wanted to say. Oh, wait.
Cut that out, Whitney.
Yeah. No need to include anything on.
Small talk.
No need to include small talk.
Oh dear.
Okay, so we are back in session.
Yes, we're back.
I forgot we
Whitney, we're
going-
back in
I forgot
session.
we were going back to the
I
minutes.
forgot to call the recess, but we're back in session.
I love it.
So now we're doing the minutes.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions, comments, corrections?
They were good.
Once again,
She does a great job.
kids talk, yeah.
As long as my name is spelled right.
I move we approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Bridget abstained. Minutes are
Approved.
approved as written.
So our next meeting is gonna be on the 14th of October.
We have nobody from the public to comment.
And I do want to, actually, in these minutes, and I wanted to make a comment, for clarification for everybody. At the last meeting, we were asked about, drafts and the Right to Know Act, because we circulate all the documents, then they have to be made available to the public if we didn't circulate them, if they were just, because they're working drafts, and there's actually an exception for, I can't remember the exact terminology, but I'll just say working draft. But because it goes to the whole team, then it's public. My intention, when there was a little bit of resistance, was not to hide anything from the public. There's no reason to. It's more or less when people read unfinished stuff and start making comments or getting up in arms or spreading that, and it's just not done, it can lead to complications. And that was what I was questioning the last time, not trying to hide any information. So, and then I did go read the Right to Know Act, and unfortunately, because they are circulated amongst the whole, we do have to share them. But any drafts, should say draft on them. And make it really known that like these are they're working.
Draft and working.
Can you do like a stamp?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
You can
could,
do watermarks.
you could do that. Could you reach out to Liz tomorrow and ask her to put draft or proof or something over
Yeah.
every single page?
That way, at least if it goes out.
And it's not that their ideas are, I mean, the ideas are pretty much spot on, but again, it's like, it's really easy to, there is a point in time when we will be taking public comments, on the written stuff. And that's not, I don't find it's appropriate at every single meeting. Like, it's one thing to ask us some questions where we're at, but we're not taking a constant feedback. We will have this available for people and say, we are ready for feedback at this point in time, once we have, everything clear. So that was my, hesitation there, and I just wanted to clarify that for the record. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
And you are perfectly correct in your interpretation. Anything else?
Joe?
Somebody want to make a
I move we
motion?
adjourn.
All in favor
Is there a
of,
second?
Second.
oh, okay. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? We are adjourned at 7:52.
Our dog member is very comfortable here.
It just took getting him his own chair.
It was a public.
He
Are
loves
we
it.
recording? Can we stop the recording?
Yeah, stop the recording.
Hold on.
Time for gossip.
Hold on.
We're adjourned. We're adjourned.
Stop recording. Yeah. Stop.
Yes, okay.